What is up, future millionaires? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Ellie Talks Money. So in today's video, we are going over something I honestly get asked about so much, especially like in my DMs and on different platforms. How do I decide on a business idea, Ellie? And it's so funny because I've been there, right? Sometimes I still find myself thinking about what's the next thing I want to do, what's the next business I want to have. So if you are someone that's multi-passionate, you just have a lot of ideas, you have a lot of things you care about, a lot of things you want to try, then this video is definitely for you. So go ahead and like this video now. It really helps my channel to grow, and also subscribe to my channel so we can cross that 100K mark. Let's get into the video.
Ellie talks money to create the better days. Business, money, life, the Ellie way.
All right, y'all, so let's get into how you would decide on your business idea. If you're someone that maybe you've already started a business, but you're kind of thinking like, what next, or if you want to start a business so you can earn extra money, this will really help you narrow it down. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to write out all your ideas. Every single one of them, almost do like a brain dump. Everything that you're thinking about, what would be really cool, ideas that you've had, just like write them all down. Because what you're gonna need to do is free up mental space. I find that if I keep too many things in my mind, like ideas or things I have to do or anything, I'm a zombie. So you've got to write it all down, and now you have a place that you can look at it. Now what I want you to do is either on that same piece of paper or on a new sheet, I want you to create 3 categories. I want you to kind of list out what you could do right now with little to no money, what would cost you maybe around $5,000 to do, and what would cost you like more than $5,000, maybe $10,000 to do. And I want you to start separating them into these lists, because the reason why this is important is all the ideas that you have are great. And what I've realized is you're not necessarily saying no to certain ideas. You're just saying not yet. Certain ideas that you have just may not be feasible for the season of life that you're in at this time, or it may be something that has to develop after you do one idea first. And so creating the list in this way and separating it out into 3 allows you to kind of come to reality a little bit, right? It allows you to see, okay, I really love this, but let's focus on how actionable is this right now with my current situation, with my current funds, with my current credit, with my current business credit, whatever it is, how actionable is this in this moment? Now, I also want you to create a list that really outlines how passionate you are about it and how much you identify with it. So in section 1, I would want you that to be things that you've been dreaming about for a long time. The next section, I want you to outline, maybe these are kind of newer ideas that you've seen that you feel like are interesting because you've seen them online, right? And then that third section, I want you to really outline, okay, this is where you have ideas that you feel like would be dope to do, but you kind of really have no idea how to start. You just know it would be dope, okay? Because all of these ideas matter, right? But this is going to help you really narrow, well, what's actually close to me? What's something that is really relevant to who I am, that I'm really, truly passionate about? What's something that I think I could do because I've seen other people do it? And then what's something that it's like, I really like this, but truly I have no idea how to start. And it's okay to have different levels of ideas or different levels of dreams. But this is really key, because one thing I want to tell you, whatever business you decide to start first, or side hustle, if you will, to make additional money that you decide to start, you've got to be willing to commit at least 12 to 24 months to it to really get it off the ground. So you want to narrow down to what is the thing that I know I could get up and keep focusing on day in and day out, no matter what, without getting tired. Well, you're going to get tired, but without giving up, continue to show up, something I would absolutely be in love with. That is why this list is important, because what you might find is you like an idea, but when you ask yourself, is this something I could get up and do every single day without fail, consistently, and show up? Well, sometimes some of those ideas change a little bit. Now that you have this kind of sectioned out list, right? By now you've probably narrowed it down to a few things that you know you've gotten rid of, and maybe you've actually gotten closer to a few things that you want to choose between. So now what you need to think of is, okay, what is my path of least resistance? And the reason why I say this is so much of the time, the business that you are meant to do is already a reflection of who you are, of the things you're good at, your life experiences, your job experiences. So it isn't always about you going and learning so many new skills. It's about you taking what you're already passionate about. Let's say if that is skincare. So maybe what makes the most sense is to start skincare consultations, is to create digital products around skincare, then is to launch a skincare line. You see, what I want you to realize is you don't have to jump straight from what you love to then creating a product on it right away. Sometimes that takes time. Sometimes you're gonna have to put the product on pre-order. Sometimes you're gonna have to figure out what you actually like before you can buy a whole bunch of inventory, okay? Sometimes building the audience is the best way to start, then dropping a product to people that are already excited about what you have to say as it comes or as it relates to skincare. So this is what I mean. You've got to look at what is the path of least resistance? What is something that you already like, that people are already asking you for advice on, that you're already good at, that you can then turn into the business, right? Instead of finding a business that's going to make you change, look at who you already are and then change your idea to fit that. Change your business to fit that. Don't change yourself to fit your business. That is so important, because when it comes to being able to last and sustain, you've got to have a business that is built up on what you already believe in and who you already are. Otherwise, you'll be exhausted trying to be something that you're not in order to come up and sustain a business that you think you're supposed to have. Okay, so that's really important. Now, what I would want you to do next is, once you've listed out your skills, what do people ask you for the most advice on, which of these business ideas comes the most naturally to you? Truly the most natural. Like, what could you probably start talking about and creating content about right now in this moment, here, today? That represents the business that you should lean into, the side hustle that you should lean into. And sometimes it does not mean you have to be front facing on social media. Sometimes it means if you're already great at art, or if you're already great at music, it means selling digital art on Etsy, right? It means uploading your music into places where people can start to buy. It means starting a YouTube channel. The key here is, now that you've outlined what is the path of least resistance, your next list, I'm all about lists, y'all. If you know, you know, right? You got to write things down. The next thing you have to do is, I want you to outline what are the 5 first steps you can take towards this project. 5 small action items. You know, a lot of the time we paralyze ourselves and we don't move because we're looking at all the big things that we have to get done. But before you can get to the big things, girl, you got to master the small ones. You've got to have your list of 3, 4, 5 things that you know you could do right now. Maybe the first thing is buying a domain. Maybe the next thing is reserving the Instagram. Maybe the next thing is starting that YouTube channel. Maybe the next thing is going on Canva and starting to design something. Maybe the next thing is writing out a list of ingredients that you would possibly include in a skincare line. Break down your big goals into micro tasks. That helps me so much. It helps a lot of my audience so much, because when you keep it large, it feels like a huge mountain that you can't climb. But let's think about rock climbers, right? They don't try to jump the whole mountain. They start 1 foot at a time. 1 foot at a time. That's the same way you have to look at you building this new business or developing this business idea. Look at what are the 5 action items you can take immediately. These 5 small steps that you can take to get up to the top of that mountain. And this is also going to give you some wins, right? I will tell you that entrepreneurship is a sport. It is not every day that you have the same energy, but finding ways to have quick wins, getting something checked off of your to-do list, woo! That is a high unlike any other. You want to make sure you're giving yourself the space to do that. So let's do a little bit of a review. Our first step is to really organize the ideas in terms of cost. What's going to cost the least? What's going to be medium cost? And what would kind of push you outside of your budget to start right now? The next thing that you want to look at is, okay, what's your how passionate are you about this on an order, right? What are you super passionate about? What are you kind of like, yeah, I like this. I've seen other people do it. I think I could. And what's like, you know what? This just seems really dope, but I have really no idea how to start. Then you want to go into, now, what is the path of least resistance for me? Which of these is really closely aligned with who I am, what I'm already good at, what people already ask me for advice on? And then lastly, you want to start creating 5 at least actionable steps that you could take in this idea. By the time you've gone through this process, you should have at least 1 or 2 businesses that you're deciding between, maybe 3, and you can essentially just repeat the process until you narrow it down to 1. And remember, just because you are not doing the other businesses doesn't mean you're saying no to them. You are just saying not yet, right? You've got the time. Once you start making money in the first business, that's going to give you what you need to do the other businesses. You know, Steve Harvey didn't start with a restaurant, a TV show, a clothing line, and all the things. He started with what he was good at, which is being a comedian. And that ended up fueling the rest of the businesses. So I want you to comment down below what was helpful about this video and if you are going to make these lists, and also make sure that you are locked in and connected to my free masterclass where we dive into this in more detail and we help you to get funding for that new business. Click on the next video and I will see you in the rest of the channel.